So here's what Cousins did in weeks 1 through 4. Statistically speaking, obviously he was a 2-2 record, but he was 64 of 99 pass attempts for 735 yards at 7.4 yards an attempt, 3 scores, 2 picks, and for those keeping track, that's 65% on the 64 to 99. And through the last 5 weeks, last 3 weeks, weeks 5 through 7 now, he is 68 of 97, so that's 70%, and he threw almost as many passes as he did in 4 weeks and one less week for 976 yards. That's 10 yards an attempt and 10 touchdowns to one interception. So obviously he's playing a little differently than the first portion, and we actually see him kind of taking charge these last 3 weeks, so to speak, and maybe even enjoying the game of football. Who knows? Maybe, perhaps seeing a little bit more emotion. But I want to know what you guys. I'm just trying to gauge this. What's the trust level in Kirk? Because is this just one of his typical? Oh, it's just a good stretch, or because they just go back to being inconsistent, or is this something we can maybe count on in the future? And I personally don't really know how much I would trust Kirk Cousins, the player, necessarily to speak, but I think I trust the system. The system is kind of what he does. This is what he's supposed to be good at. He's always been great at being a play action passer and throwing on the run. And now we are literally just play action passing most of the throws, and you're playing off Dalvin Cook, and he's really good. So people bite on it and add that into the fact that he's just a normally good play action passer, you're usually going to have success if you can run the ball. And that's kind of how this whole thing works. And it just plays right within his little comfort zone. And that's why I don't really understand why they didn't call plays like this earlier in the year. Because I think the past 3 weeks, the main difference we've seen is actually throwing on first and second down. Not so much run, run, run when you get into 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 6, whatever it may be. That's when you throw when everyone expects you to throw. Obviously, you're going to struggle when you only throw when everyone expects you to throw the ball. But I don't understand why they weren't doing that from there. The only logical explanation I can come up with is Zimmer put his hand into the pot a little bit too much. I was trying to overcorrect from the fact that he would just abandon the run last year. But I think we just see him being more comfortable in general in this offense, especially as we go on. And you can even see from this is a very little thing. I don't know how many people picked up on, but I noticed it quite quickly, even in the preseason, which was if you go back and watch, whatever it may be, games, highlights, lowlights, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to watch, I guess. If you go back to last season, you'll notice on his left wrist here, he's going to have a black coach wristband kind of thing with the plays on it. That he hasn't had that at all this year, even in the preseason. He actually knows this thing, and I think that goes a big way just in general. But even little things like that, that's a thing. And we're actually seeing a player actually play with comfort and emotion and just overall freedom, I guess is the correct word. And I think most, if not all of that, is due to the fact that this system plays right into his strengths as a quarterback, where last season we didn't see that. When you don't run the ball, you can't really do play action, which is his biggest asset, which is the play action. When you are just constantly in shotgun, he doesn't have really a way to really get out the pocket because that's not the kind of quarterback he is. He's not really the biggest playmaker in the world. He doesn't really roll out. He likes to do what is designed. So when you get him under center, you can do those play action rollouts and you get him on the move. You can do that, kind of take the pressure off of Kirk Cousins, so to speak. And that's where he's at his best. And I think some may think it's a bad idea just to rely on a run game in, this day and age in 2019. I don't really think it's that big of a problem just because Kubiak has always generated 1,000-yard backs, and now you got a really, really, really good one in Dalvin Cook. So I think it should be fine as long as you can run the ball. And personally, I really think you just see a player playing with I mentioned this yesterday in my little review recap video thing. That last throw he made to Diggs, I think you saw him check it from a run to that play. They motioned Diggs over to see if they had man coverage, and by the time he saw the guy follow him, he knew not only was it man coverage, but they're probably selling out to stop the run because there was about 3 minutes left, I want to say. And they were in a run the clock kind of mode. So he knew there was likely going to be a cover zero out there, and he just threw the bomb to Diggs because he had one-on-one, and he knew that. So play action off of that, buy the extra time for Diggs to allow Diggs to get from the left to the right, deep down the field. And that's the kind of thing we didn't see last year. We see him doing things that we haven't normally seen. So it's kind of weird because you might be seeing okay, I don't want everyone to be attacking me for this because I don't want to show too much optimism just because we know what happens when we do that around here. And I do think there is a chance, small chance, we see a 31-year-old quarterback actually making progress, which is really, really weird because that's really abnormal. You never see that. It's not like he's a first round draft pick or something like that from like 3 years ago. It's like, oh, maybe he's finally catching on. This is a 31-year-old veteran quarterback. And I think just the fact that he's super comfortable in this offense is making him maybe perceive that. I mean, he's probably still the same guy. Don't get me wrong. You still need things around him like most other quarterbacks. If you don't have Thielen, Diggs, Dalvin Cook, Irv Smith, Kyle Rudolph, maybe this doesn't go as well. I understand that. But at the same time, I think this system is perfect for him. And I kind of want to gauge where everyone else is because I want to know, are you like me, or you maybe just trust him in this scheme more than you trust him in general? Or do you just straight up trust the guy with this? Is your confidence in him like, yeah, no, Kirk can do this? Or are the two things kind of one and the same? I would like to gauge your guys, things, comments, all the good stuff. You know how it would be. And till next time, I bid you adieu.